What's up, guys? This is the Honest Outlaw here, and today we're going to be doing a pretty highly requested review, a review of a gun that I've had almost more requests than any other gun. We're going to be talking about the Ruger Security 9. The Ruger Security 9 is a very budget-friendly 9mm hammer-fired gun with a 4-inch barrel that comes with two 15-round magazines. Before I get into the review, though, I want to mention my Patreon supporters. Thank you guys very much. I really appreciate all your support. It goes a long way buying guns and gear for the channel for review. Because of that, we do a monthly giveaway. You can be entered in the monthly giveaway by just being a Patreon supporter. This month is going to be the Ontario Rat 3 knife and a K-Bar knife. This giveaway should be done, I think, next week. I also want to mention ammo.com. They're a longtime supporter of the channel. I'll leave a link in the description below for 20 bucks off any order of 200 bucks or more. Now back to the review. It is a 9mm hammer-fired pistol with a 4-inch barrel, a glass nylon-filled grip, and it comes with two 15-round magazines. And it also happens to be extremely budget friendly, making it a very popular pistol. Not everybody can afford a $1,000 pistol, and everybody deserves a right to defend themselves, so I really like reviewing these budget-minded pistols. It has an interesting action that combines the trigger pull of the LCP, and they tried to make it a little bit shorter and crisper and have a little bit more positive reset, similar to a single action as opposed to a double action trigger. This looks like a striker-fired pistol, but it actually has a hammer right here, if you can see that, and it's more of a double-action pistol. You can see that when I rack the slide, the hammer is cocked, and you can see there the hammer actually disappears after you pull the trigger. Now, an interesting thing about this pistol that makes it a little bit unique when you're trying to dry fire is generally with a pistol you can rack it a little bit like that and pull the trigger. However, that is not the case on the Security 9. You gotta go all the way back and cock that hammer for the trigger to go. Same goes for the reset. If you're dry fire practicing, all the way back for it to reset. Another unique thing about the Security 9 with that action is that it's supposed to make it easier to rack the slide. It's supposed to be easier to rack the slide than a standard polymer frame pistol. However, from my experience, I don't really see that. I think it's pretty much the same, or at least on par with all the other pistols that I felt. It doesn't feel any easier to rack, personally, in my opinion. If you want to get something like that, go with the Smith & Wesson EZ. That pistol is actually really easy to chamber around. And that's good for people with arthritis, elderly people, or maybe a very small framed person who just doesn't have the strength to rack the slide of a normal pistol. Totally understand that, but if that's you and that's why you're thinking about buying this gun, I would go with the EZ. It's a good all-around pistol. It comes in at a very light 23 ounces and has a 4-inch barrel, so it's pretty good at concealed carry. It's very lightweight, very concealable. You wouldn't have a problem carrying this all day. It also comes with an accessory rail, a Picatinny rail, so you can put a light on it, so it would be a pretty decent home defense gun as well. So if you have $300 to spend and you want a gun to defend your home with, and you also want a gun you can carry all day, the Security 9 is a pretty reasonable choice. And reliability is the most important part of a firearm, especially for defense, and the Ruger Security 9 isn't the most reliable pistol I've reviewed, but it's not the worst either. For around the $300 price range, you're going to run into a few little quirks and problems with a lot of pistols, and the Security 9 is no exception. It kind of reminds me of the Canic in reliability. Pretty good, but occasionally have a little bit of bobble. I have 1,000 rounds for this gun, and I think I had 2 or maybe 3 failures. Now we'll get into accuracy. That's not great either. The sights are traditional Glock sights. They look awful similar. You can see there it's got that white box with the white dot in the front there. Not the worst sight picture in the world. I've seen worse sights. I've seen just regular flat black sights. I've even seen sights that really don't have a rear sight, just has a front sight. So these aren't bad for the price range. Now we're going to take the Ruger Security 9 here, shoot it at 50 yards. And miss. What the hell? Alright, so not the most accurate gun I've ever shot, at least for me. I think some of that is the interface with the trigger. A lot of my shots are going high, which is strange for me. I don't usually miss high, so I have to assume some of that is part of the gun. They just don't have that great of a sight picture, and they're also not going to be that reliable over time. Polymer sights do break. I know that some people will come on my comment section and say, I've never seen one break, and I've had, I think, 2 sets of polymer sights break in my time, or get loose and come out of the dovetail. So, not the best, but again, not the worst either. The trigger, however, is something that I'm not a huge fan of. It gave me some accuracy issues that I didn't expect because the ergonomics of the pistol feel really good, and we'll get into that in a second. The gun feels really good in your hand, and it's kind of strange because you'll be shooting at a target and you just won't be hitting it, and you're not really understanding why. The sight picture looks good, everything looks good, but then when you pull the trigger, for some reason it doesn't go where you want it. And I don't know if that's me not getting used to the gun, or if that's, you know, sometimes you just don't vibe with the firearm. What can I say? But I really think a lot of it is that trigger. It has a very spongy trigger, and then it has a big wall here that you have to overcome that I would say is probably around 5.5, 6 pounds. It feels stronger than a Glock trigger. It feels a little bit heavier, so maybe even 7 pounds. I'm kind of guessing here with my little finger weight. It's just a weird trigger, and it's got a lot of travel all the way through it, as you can see there, because it is kind of a double action. So it's got a little bit longer, a little bit spongier trigger that you're just going to have to get used to. I mean, if you don't like that, there are other options. The Canik is the same price, and it has a significantly better trigger. However, Ruger is an American company. Now we'll get into shootability. Now, as I said, the accuracy wasn't awesome, and the shootability really wasn't that awesome either. It was a little bit snappy. Part of that is because it has very, very weak texturing on the grip. I like the grip angle, however the grip feels a little bit small to me. As you can see there, I can cover almost all of it up with my single hand. It doesn't have the back straps to adjust that, and I know a lot of people don't care about that and think it's a gimmick. I actually like the back straps, and every gun that I review I put the large back strap on. But it just feels a little bit weird in my hands when I shoot, although it was definitely shootable. It was definitely usable. Like if I had this as a carry gun and I knew it was perfectly reliable, would I be okay with the accuracy and the shootability? I think I'd be fine with it. I can still pile off some rounds close range, and I can still hit at a decent distance. So for $300, I think it's pretty reasonable. Now we'll get into the ergonomics. As I said, the grip texture is not the best. I've seen worse, but it's certainly not the best. If it were me, I would put a Talon grip of some type on this. The magazine release works okay. It's just fine. I wouldn't change anything about it. Trigger undercut's pretty reasonable. I like how they slice the slide here to match it up with the rail. That looks kind of cool. The serrations are very functional for being a $300 pistol. The finish is not great. I think it's just a standard blued finish, and as you can see, it's already wearing down here. The guy that actually sent this to me, William Chappell, he sent me a gun previous to this. He sent me a really high-quality 1911. This is one of his carry guns, and you can see it gets a little bit of use. It came with this awesome little Kydex holster here that has a carbon fiber pattern on it that he uses to carry the gun. I actually used that to practice with just a little bit while I was using this gun, and you can see the finish isn't too bad. It's pretty good for a low quality pistol, or for a low price pistol, I should say. The safety is the worst part of this gun by far. I would not have put the safety on there. These little dink safeties that people put on there, I just don't understand that. If you have a really good high quality safety, like a 1911 or a CC75 type safety that you can use very well, I don't really consider that a detriment to the pistol, especially if that's the only type of firearm that you're used to shooting. You really can get into the natural point of where you pop the safety on and off as you draw the gun or as you present the firearm, whatever circumstances that may be. Whereas a safety like this, to me, is just a detriment. Like, it doesn't go on that well. It's easily missed. It's very small. small and dinky, and it's actually fairly hard to put the safety back on as well. It seems like something easily missed or easily forgotten in the battery of arms, and I would have eliminated this. I understand Ruger tries to make guns for everybody, and a lot of people want a manual safety, but if you're going to do a manual safety, I would say do it correctly. Make it a little bit bigger, make it a little bit more ergonomic, make it a part of the pistol instead of an afterthought. I hate when they make these polymer pistols and they put the afterthought safeties on there. I really prefer the 1911 style safety. If you're going to do it right. Another cool thing they do, as you can see in the grip, there is a cutout for magazines. So if you get your dirt, grime, or whatever, you get a magazine stuck in there during a malfunction, you can pull that magazine out, rip that magazine out quickly. Glock tried to do it with this stupid little cut up front here. This is the right way to do it. And it's pretty funny that Ruger was able to do that on a $300 gun. And another pro of the gun is that it does fit into Glock 19 holsters, at least most of them. And I don't think there's any holsters out there that are more plentiful than the Glock 19. So if you get a Ruger and you want to throw it in any holster you like, you see a random holster on a YouTube video, 100% they're going to make that holster for a Glock 19, so they'll be easy to access. Some guns like the Arsenal or the Archon Type B or other good weird firearms like the Beretta PX4 Storm, for example, they're great guns, but it's hard to find a really good holster. A lot of being comfortable with carrying a firearm is finding the holster that works for you. I've went through dozens in my time trying to find the perfect holster, and it's a lot easier when a gun is compatible with a very popular pistol or it's very popular in the first place. So Ruger did a good job there. Overall, I think the gun's pretty decent. I wouldn't say it's the best budget pistol ever made, and it's certainly not the worst either. I'm not even going to lie, I'd probably take this over a Canik. I've had some serious reliability issues with Canik. A lot of people love Canik. Don't get on me about that. I understand that most of them are good quality. However, in my personal experience, I've had a lot of reliability issues with many of their models. So I don't really like them, and I don't care for them much anymore. So if I'm going to go with a budget pistol, I'm probably going to go somewhere between the G2T or the G2C and the Ruger Security 9 currently. I like this over the High Point. I like it over a lot of other pistols. I would take the Ruger Security 9 over the the Walther PPX. I could be wrong about that. Walther has a budget gun that I'm sure is very reliable, but every time I've picked it up, it felt like holding a brick. The ergonomics on the Security 9 are going to be better than that or the High Point. So I'm probably going to do a head-to-head comparison between the G2C and the Ruger Security 9 because they're two of my favorite budget pistols so far in the market today. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Please help out your local homeless shelters, and remember to recycle. I'll check you later.